contact point. We make a circle on the contact point and we just roll underneath the contact point. And then we go a bit further into the elbows and we roll our elbows under our partner's elbow. And we go into the shoulder and we roll under our shoulder, under their shoulder. And we go to the midpoint of the scapula, you press into the face to feel the scapula, roll under the scapula. And go down to the Ming Men, the inward curve of the spine, touch down under that point and roll your Ming Men under there. Come down to the hips, get your mind into the hip of your training partner, roll your hip under their hip and open your hips up. And come down onto the knees, press the fascia down and get a feel for the knee, and then relax and roll your knees under their knees. Come down onto the ankle, feel the ankle, press across the ankle, get a bit of cross forces, and roll your ankle under their ankle. Feel their toes, tickle the toes. Now the toes are the most important point of all because that's what controls their balance. So get down onto your toes and roll your toes onto your partner's toes. And then go a handspan below their feet and then sink your mind under, roll your root under their root, and the whole body opens underneath. Once you've got that feeling of rolling your whole body under their body, you're getting a root-to-root connection. You're forming a bridge. This is your starting point for internal training, is to establish a ground path from you to their ground path, and base yourself under their root. So your whole body's rolling, stretching your fascia to become grounded underneath your training partner's feet. Now my training partner he's not grounding himself, he's just maintaining a stable upright posture, and he's keeping his pressures constant so that as soon as I go in and roll, there's a reaction that takes place. He's not readjusting anything, he's holding continuous force. As long as he's continuous, I can get underneath it. But if I go under and he changes something, now I've got to go under again. We have this little battle thing happening. We want to avoid that so you can find what you're looking for. You're touching the root and then rolling under. As you're tracking down your training partner's body, you may find, let's say over here there's a little bit of a tension around his hip. Don't want to go down, touch that tension, just practice rolling under that and picking up those tension points. Any disconnects in the body, you can just play with those disconnects, make your partner more aware of it. When you're doing push hands with someone, your obligation is to point out all their weaknesses by uprooting them through their weaknesses so they can fix them. Every time you uproot someone, you're giving them a gift of saying, hey, you've got something to work on here. And that's your duty as a training partner. And this is your basic training to get your awareness into your training partner, find their strengths, find their weaknesses, and point them out to your training partner. Everything's about rolling joints under and open at the same time. You're opening the joint, hanging the muscle, and stretching through your training partner. By stretching your body open, it gives the conductivity for the yi, the energy, the breath to move. So everything's inside of a rolling stretch through the joint. If I stretch the joints out without rolling under, I'm creating vulnerability. I'm not grounding the joint. I'm not grounding my body as I do it. So this rolling under feeling automatically sends me into the root of my training partner. If I just stretch out and he's a little bit more grounded, he's going to catch me. So he'll bring me up if it's just a purely linear stretch. It's got to be hanging the muscles, rolling the joints under and stretching your fascia to be more conductive. Okay, let's partner up.